Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight for the Coaches and Coxswains meeting for the Mid-Atlantic Youth Championships. Tonight I'm going to run through our agenda and then introduce everybody else on the call. We're going to go over a welcome with introductions again with everybody here. We'll go over a review of the schedule and what to expect this next coming week leading up to the event. Then our chief referee, Duncan, will be here and he'll go over the referee welcome, regatta time, detailed traffic patterns, the rules of rowing on the water, racing, finish, and unsportsmanlike conduct. And then we're going to finish up with an LOC update regarding the safety on the venue in both medical aid and evacuation plans. So before we get started, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. Please stay clear of the chat so we can best monitor it. And I will note too, so I probably talked to a lot of you this past Sunday regarding the COVID plans. If you do have COVID questions, I can take some of them now at the very end of this presentation, but please hold those to the end. Or if we don't get to all the COVID questions, you can send those to me via email, absolutely. So again, our number one goal continues to be safety. So on top of continuously making sure that our on and off water plan is completely safe for all rowers, COVID does add another level to it. So we really appreciate you guys staying flexible this year as we continue to come up with what the best, safest protocols are for all of those items. So on this call, we have myself, I'll be the regatta director from US Rowing. We have Hillary and Chris from the LOC, and then we have Duncan, Hudson, and Bruce from the referee committee acting as chief and deputy. So to go over that venue schedule and what to expect leading up, again, if you have any questions regarding your trailer or arrival times, go ahead and you can email the LOC. You can email Hillary or Chris with that information. The US Rowing registration tent, and this is where the COVID officer will meet me at the beginning of the event prior to your entire team arriving. That tent will be open at the entrance of the venue on Friday from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then both Saturday and Sunday from 6:30 a.m. on. So again, this tent is for bow number time trial pickups and then COVID wristband pickups. So the COVID officer should come here at the very beginning of the event, see me, I'll exchange all the paperwork that we reviewed on Sunday. I'll give you your wristbands and then you'll be good to go offsite and give your teams the wristbands there as well. For practice, practice is available from 4 to 6 p.m. And the docks will be shut down at 5:30 p.m. So Duncan has some referees that will be marshaling out there, but just to stress, there will be no launching after 5:30 p.m. So right now there is a schedule, a mock schedule that is posted on Regatta Central. It is based off of entries about midday yesterday, so it's a little bit being up to date right now by here now. So I would expect the final heat sheets by this Wednesday. That'll have lane assignments and all of those details. But what you see right now is a good estimate of what we're going to see this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Duncan, and he can answer any questions and go through his regatta plan for the weekend.
Great, thank you very much. Just before we begin, I'd like to thank or acknowledge Sarah McAuliffe, Chris Groot, and Hillary Gaiman. Without them, they've worked tirelessly, and this regatta would not have happened. So thank you all. And I also want to apologize. This is not my deck. This was actually developed for the central region, so it is maybe a little bit more verbose than I would normally say. But with that, we have assembled an excellent cadre of referees. We have 25 referees coming from 4 regions with over 200 years. I said 198 there, but over 200 years of experience. So we know what we're doing. We're going to keep everybody safe. That's our primary goal, and keep everything fair. One thing, we will not be responsible for monitoring the COVID protocol, other than, not letting you launch. If you show up at control without masks, we'll send you away. So you know what you need to do for that, and that's the COVID police will get you for that. Regatta time is basically cell phone time, and as I always say at every regatta, we are always on time. So please don't come to me or one of my referees and say, "Is the regatta on time?" If we get behind in any way, we will do everything in our power to get back on schedule. So do not think if for any reason we get backed up that you can sit around and not launch. We get back on time and you haven't launched, we're not going to wait for you. All right, so on Friday, the course will open at 4 p.m. and we will have marshals up and down the course. It will be open for practice. You're able to row in lanes 1 through 3 from the start to the finish. Lane 4 will have no traffic. And then lanes 5 through 7, you can row at race speed up to the start. You're allowed to row in the traditional warm-up area. We're not using the big bowl that we've used in past years. And we'll get more to that in one of the next slides. For the time trial, the races will be roughly 1,900 meters. The marshals will assemble flights of races by bow number order, bring you onto the course. There will be a referee on the starting dock that will call you in and assign you a lane. Even number boats will go into lane 4. Odd number boats will go into lane 3. You'll start at 30-second intervals. The referee on the start platform will tell you when to go. You need to get up to full racing cadence by the time you hit 100 meters. That will be the start. There will be someone on the shore, a referee on the shore with the timing equipment. You'll hear through a loudspeaker or a megaphone, ready, bow number, and then ready, ready, go as you cross the line. In the event that you are being overtaken by another boat, you must yield. Lane 3 must yield to the outside, lane 2, and lane 4 must yield to the other outside, lane 5. Is that all we got for that one? Yep. Okay. On race day, it's the full 2,000 meter course. You can see on the map here the warm-up area. It's roughly 100 meters in length. You're allowed to go around that in a clockwise pattern. I think it's going to take you 5 to 10 minutes to do the loop. If your race is within 5 minutes, I would encourage you not to make another loop. Again, we're not going to wait for people who aren't at the start. The start marshals will announce your race and call you into the course. You'll be invited onto the course and will enter in lane number order. You must be locked on within 2 minutes of the race, and we can start anytime within that 2-minute window.
Duncan, if we could go back one slide, just a clarification. The warm-up lane is 2 sections. The first one closest to the start line is exactly 200 meters long. The second one, which is closer to the finish line, is exactly 300 meters long. There's a 50-meter gap.
Okay.
Crews should go along
you don't
that.
have to do the whole loop.
Yeah,
Correct.
they can either go halfway, the 200 meter, or the full 500 meters. At the ends, they should stop, turn, and then go up the other side of that. Don't do big loops. And you can see where it says no regatta traffic. Do not go over there.
In the no regatta traffic area, if you happen to venture over that way, our marshals, are not going to go looking for you for a race. So the onus is on you to get back onto the course or onto the proper warm-up area to hear the announcement for your race. Okay. This is a little verbose. I apologize for that. Everybody should know the rules of rowing. Everybody has agreed to, pre-check their equipment. Referees, due to COVID, will not be doing as vigorous a control inspection as possible. We'll visually look at bow balls and heel ties. If they look questionable, we'll ask the boat to go to the side, and a coach or a coxswain or a boat member to check them and show us that they're proper. Bow numbers, always important. During the time trials, most important. You're not allowed to launch without a bow number. If for any reason, if something happens on the water, you lose your bow number, let one of the marshals know immediately so we can try to let the start know and the finish know and try to rectify it for you. Okay. If a referee gives you instructions about anything on the water, please raise your hand. Let us know that you've heard us. That would be the coxswain raising the hand in a blind boat. The bow person can raise a hand. We ask you not to, in the practice area, we ask you not to stop in front of the aligner's line of sight. He or she is looking across the lake. And if you stop there, you'll affect the ability for them to start the next race. Common courtesy, if you're passing, if a race is passing you, please don't be doing a power 10 or 20 as you pass the race and disrupting them. They wouldn't do it to you, so don't do it to them. Time trials. Being the starting, you need to be in the area to be called into your race at least 5 minutes before the event. As I said, we will arrange you by bow number order and call you onto the dock. Even number boats, lane 4, odd numbers, lane 3. We're going to alternate starts every 30 seconds. So there'll be a minute spread between boats in a lane. So there shouldn't be much overtaking. But remember, if you are overtaken, you do need to yield. We will have referees on both sides of the lake during the time trials. They'll be static, watching for failure to yield infractions and for safety. They will also be stopping the boats launching from the Casperson boathouse from crossing in front of a race. You will only be allowed to cross after an event has finished.
Duncan, we have a question from Matt Lehman. What if gear breaks in the boat breaks?
So the same rules apply in the time trials as they do in a regular head race or a regular sprint race. If it breaks within the first 100 meters or roughly 20 seconds, you'll be allowed to stop. We'll stop the race, your race, if it's just a time trial, and assess the damage, see if you can finish or correct it in a reasonable amount of time. And if you can, then we will allow you to re-race. Okay. Sprint starts. All right, so we will call you onto the course. The starter will call you onto the course. You will enter in lane number order, lowest to highest. We ask that you please, once you get in your lane, don't go a million miles down the course because you have to back on, and it just takes forever if you're backing on from a real distance. You must be locked on within 2 minutes of your posted start time. We can start the race at any time within that 2-minute window. If everybody is locked on and everybody is present, if we are running ahead of schedule, which occasionally does happen, we will poll the crews and ask if they're willing to go early. And if everybody agrees, then we will set that race off ahead of time. Again, breakage zone 100 meters, roughly 20 seconds. Okay. It's sprints racing, just like every other venue you've been to. We will have usually 2 referees following each race. They will enter from the high side of the course, and they will use their flags to direct you in the event that you're getting yourself into danger by deviating off the course or impacting another crew. At the finish, there'll be a horn for every boat that crosses the line. There'll be an orange flag that is on the beach. If you have an objection, you must raise it on the water. Put your hand up at the finish, tell the finish marshal or the referee that was following your race, let them know what happened, how you were impacted, and what you think a proper resolution would be. Remember, there is no protesting the start at the finish. If you've left the starting area, then you've accepted the start. Everybody should know that. If we can't resolve the problem on the water, you may file an objection in writing after you get off. You have an hour to do that. Submit that with a $50 fee to myself or to the LOC, to Sarah on land, and we will rectify that in a court of law, so to speak. Okay. Profanities. Unfortunately, this does happen. This happened this past week, and it was not a great situation. They should never be used, especially not towards another crew or to any regatta personnel. If you do choose to use that kind of talk, it is considered unsportsmanlike conduct, and unsportsmanlike conduct is grounds for exclusion. Okay. Evacuation plan, that's not me. Okay.
Thank you so much, Duncan. Now, Chris is going to go over a little bit about the evacuation plan for on water and weather.
So we will have people that are monitoring the weather conditions and reporting that to the chief referee. And it is our goal to make sure that the racing can be done in a fair and safe conditions. But if we lose the ability to have the fair and safe conditions, then the regatta director, chief referee will make a decision to suspend the regatta or to make the necessary changes to the racing based on the conditions. If we have to suspend the regatta director and chief referee, Sarah and Duncan, will make that decision with Hillary, and we will need to get all of the participants and staff off the water. Hopefully, we will have time to do that, and you'll go back to where you launched. That way, the coaches know where you are, and we can account for everybody. However, if for some reason we need to do an emergency, very quick evacuation of the water, then the regatta umpires, the referees on the water, will direct boats to go where to go for landing and getting off the water quickly. And the possibilities for that are the launch and recovery docks. If we have an emergency, all of them will become recovery and everybody can go in on all of them. Also, we may have to send some crews to the Casperson Rowing Center across on the other side of the lake, and the referees would tell crews to do that. The third option is at the finish line. If a crew is directed there, they can beach their boat and take it on to the shore there. Obviously, the ideal situation is we get everybody in where they originally launched from. And the referees will work very closely to make sure that everybody on the water is taken off and that we are safe. In the case we do have a thunderstorm, we ask that you try to get everybody in vehicles as much as possible. Underneath trees is not a safe place to be. Underneath tents, a pop-up tent is not a safe place to be. So in the case of a thunderstorm, try to get everybody into vehicles as much as possible. We will have EMTs, and it's a little hard to see on this map here, but where Sarah has the cursor right now, there's a little EMTs. That is where the EMTs will try to hang out. It's right above the return docks, up the hill from the return docks. In case we have an on the water emergency, if it is in the start area, start half of the course up to 1,500 meters, they'll try to bring them into the return, but they may also bring them in to the other boat ramp area in case it's at the lower end of the lake or we need to get somebody in. The EMTs have a little all-terrain cart with a gurney on it that they can pick up somebody from almost anywhere. If you do have a medical emergency, please go to the EMTs and report it to them or to the referees, and the referees will arrange for the EMTs to attend to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. So if anybody has any questions right now, I don't see any, go ahead and put them in that Q&A. I will note that after this meeting, this will be live. We'll post this on the Regatta Central page so everybody can watch, and you can share it with your crews and your coxswains if they're not on here already. There will also be the confirmation packet that will include all this information with paper copies of the maps, along with our texting system. So if you're on the COVID call on Sunday, we went over the texting system that we'll be using for any weather updates, COVID reminders, or schedule changes. So that number will be in the packet, but you'll add US Rowing to your contacts, and that'll be the #1 form of communication that I will use to get information out to everyone. The second form will be an email that goes out to the Regatta Central contacts for each team. Sometimes that is not completely up to date. So if it's not, I would recommend going in and checking that. But I am stressing that that texting system is our number one form of communication. I'll give everyone about 1 minute and see if there's any other questions, but if not, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the night. We have an easy group here. All right, well, we'll go ahead and close out then. Thank you to Duncan and his referee group. They have been working very hard on this. Thank you to the LOC for putting this together. And thanks to you all for, again, being so flexible and following along with compliance for both COVID and the normal regatta compliance. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Thank you.